You know what I'm saying? So they compare Saul to Griffith because they both started off good, but then they ended, and they had jealousy towards a person in their army, Saul with David and Griffith with Guts, right? Yo, guys, I can't stress it enough. We're not saying that Griffith is a good person. We like Griffith because he's well written and he's a complex human. Like he's complex like a human being, right? A lot of people aren't good and a lot of people aren't bad. They're like Griffith. They're like you do things that's good and you do things that's bad. But everybody wants to play like they're the good guy, like Guts. Everybody. I learned that about men and women. Nobody wants to talk about the bad things they've done to people or the things that they have done or think. So they always relate to Superman or Guts or somebody that's like the good guy instead of the bad guy, when you really more like the bad guy than you think. You know what I'm saying? And of course, people relate to Guts. Guts, he symbolizes perseverance, keep going, things like that. Man, that nigga is the struggler. You know what I'm saying? Remember how nigga was like, man, I had to eat bread every night. And nigga said, man, I had to sleep standing up, shit like that. Guts is one of the niggas that if you had to go, trauma for trauma, he would beat you. You know what I'm saying? He went through a whole lot. You know what I mean? Especially when he was a kid growing up and things like that. So people relate to Guts. And that, like I told you, I think there's a real Guts out there in the real world that's going through a lot of shit, right? But when we talk about Griffith, we're just talking about how complex he is as a character. And I told you what I told you about Griffith. You know what I'm saying? I told you that people say, oh, well, he never really loved his army or whatever the case may be. I'm going to give you two black pills. One is about women and one is about looks, features, and stuff like that. Pay attention. You know what I'm saying? For you look max niggas and BP niggas, people followed Griffith because of the way he looked and his skills. You know what I'm saying? They said they were enamored by him. He was an enigma. So he liked that. He took advantage of that. Okay, you follow me because I look good or whatever the case may be. You like the way I talk or speak. You see me as a leader. So they followed him. Now, they're not Boy Scouts. We ain't fucking Boy Scouts. We are an army. You know what I'm saying? We are a band of the Hawk. So you're going to probably die in a fight somewhere, whatever the case may be. You know what you're signing up for. This ain't no motherfucking Kingdom Hall Jehovah's Witness knocking on doors. We are fighters. You know what I'm saying? We train to fight. You know what I'm saying? So you might die. And so in his mind, it was consensual that they were going to die one day or they could be sacrificed. So in his mind, he like, whatever. Now, does that make him a bad person or a good person? It makes him an opportunist. It makes him a person that is going to take advantage of anything that's given to him. You know what I'm saying? And like we say, Saul was being compared to Griffith by another creator on this app, which was very true. They both was very skilled. They both were, warriors. Now, in the Bible, Saul was very jealous of David, kind of like how Griffith is jealous of Guts. But Saul was jealous of David because David was young and he was a good warrior and he was rising up in popularity. And here's a black pill, red pill niggas. Back in the day, it shows you how women were hypergamous. They were chanting, Saul slayed 1,000 men, but David slayed 10,000. Oh, Saul, he got angry at that. He was jealous of that. You know what I'm saying? And this is the king. Saul was a king at the time. So he's like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So they both fell. It said that God left Saul and David was ordained next. And the lineage stayed in David's lineage. You know what I'm saying? But God had favored Saul first. You know what I'm saying? He liked Saul. Saul messed it up himself.